And today I'm going to start the new unit, that is unit 3. Before that, tell me if you have any query from unit 2. Let me discuss this part first, then I will go to my unit 3. So do you have any problem? Do you have any problem with unit 2? That is demand, supply, equilibrium, stability. I know you have one problem of the reference in case of the Marshallian stability. I told yesterday in my class that I am searching from where you should get it, and once I will get, I will definitely share in our elements. Okay, but before that, you have to wait and read whatever I have discussed in my class for the stability part. Okay, yes. Now your query.
Ma'am, for the stability part, can we refer to your class recording
Yes,
only?
no, because I am also following. This is not invented by myself. No? This is something theory already invented. So I'm just going through it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Acha. So any other query? I don't think you have a lot. You should have a lot of query from unit 2 because we have discussed a lot of questions yesterday. And for today, it's unit 3. So let me share my screen. Huh? No, I am sharing actually. So yes, this is our unit 3, market and adjustment. Okay. So here we are going to discuss about a bit of market. Okay, what is market, the types of market, and all this, because we have already discussed about the demand supply. So then after we must know the different types of market. So first of all, the evaluation of the market, how market comes. Some of you know that initially there was a barter system. Okay, the first term is written as a barter system. What is barter system? Barter system means it's a system where the commodities are exchanged without money. For example, I may have, what can I say? I may have five, okay, I may have 50 pence. Okay, so out of these 50 pence, I need only 5. So remaining 45 is extra for me. Okay, and I want pencil, but in my box I don't have any pencil. So I need pencil. Hmm, I don't have any pencil. I need pencil, but I have a lot of pen, which is of no use for me. So then I am coming to the market and I am searching the person who has extra pencil. So I'm coming in the market and asking, look, I have some extra pen. Do you want those pens? And can you give me some pencil? I need pencils. So suddenly there came one man and he is saying that yes, I have a lot of pencil which is of no use for me. So I'm going to give you and I need pen from you. Hmm, just a minute. Look, I think Deepak's watch is slow because every day Deepak is late. So then what happened? I have some extra. So what is the situation? I have some extra pen and that person has some extra pencil. I need pencil and he needs pen. So we are exchanging the commodities. I'm giving pen to him and he is giving pencil to me. And we at the end we both are happy because um, I have a demand for pencil which I have now, and that person had a demand for pen which he had now. So both sides are happy through this exchange. Now look, there is no scope of money, right? We are not using the money to exchange that commodity. We are just exchanging the commodities. Pen for pencil, pencil for pen. This is true for any of the commodities. Okay, this is true for any of the commodities. You can exchange bread with oil. You can exchange seed with flour, anything you can do. Okay, so there is no need of money. So initially, in the world, when the market system was started, this type of exchanging was done. So that is called the barter system. So barter system is a system where there is no money. For the exchange purpose, there is no need of money. Only the commodities are exchanged. But what is the problem of the barter system? In barter system, you have to find out the person who needs pen and who has surplus pencil. Then only you can exchange with that person, right? So it is very difficult. Sometimes it is very difficult to find out that person, exactly that person who has the same amount of surplus which you need and who has a deficit of the same amount which you have as a surplus. So this type of problem is coming, and that is why there comes the medium of exchange. And what is the medium of exchange? This is called the money. Okay. So if I have some extra amount of pen, I'm going to the market and telling that, okay, if you need the pen, take the pen and give me the money. So if there is a person who has the demand for pen, he is just taking the pen from me and giving me the money. Now after getting that money, I can purchase anything. Not only pencil, I can purchase eraser, I can purchase ruler, I can purchase anything. Right? So this is how the money is helping to smooth the process of exchange. He is just making a smooth process of exchange. So that is how money comes, and you know the evaluation of the money. Initially it was the gold, then after it is the silver, precious metals, and now it is the currency. Okay, the paper currency is there. The coins are also there. These are from the metals. So all of you know, and if there is a stamp by the central government, here in our case, all the coins are from the central government and the rupees uh, from the Reserve Bank. So if there is a stamp of those, these are authenticated. Okay, this is how these currencies are authenticated, and you can use it freely. Okay, so this is how the money market economics has evaluated from the barter system to the monetary system. And also today we are also very much habituated with the online payment. Before that, we were habituated with the card. No? We are using a credit card, we are using debit card. So again, there is no money. Ah, when we are using the credit card, we are going to the shopping mall, purchasing something and just giving my card, and he is just swiping and getting the money. So there is no money in my pocket, and I'm not giving any money to shop that shop, and the shop is also not taking the money. Okay, the money is going from my account to his account. So this is called the card. Okay, you know, the debit card, credit card, and nowadays we are also not using that card. We are making the online payment. We have Paytm, we have Google. What is the name? Google. Uh, I can't remember. Google Pay, na? Google Pay.
Google Pay.
Google
Yes.
Pay.
So these are there. So through which we are using, even not using the card. We have that certain number, we have that CVV, we are getting that OTP, and we are just sharing that and get an exchange is done. So this is how the market is evaluated. The Veeam is there, UPI, so many transaction units are there through which we can go for exchange process. We can exchange without money, without card, without anything. Just sit in your home and you can do everything. So this is in short, this is actually a story type of thing, is valuation of the market economies. And don't worry, this question will not come. Just explain the evaluation of market economies and you are just opening your pen and started writing a story like this type of questions will not come. Okay, this is just a background of the market economics. Now the decision taker here comes, some of you know, you are familiar with this type of diagram. I have taken it from the Mancue. This is actually, you know it as a circular flow diagram. Look at this diagram carefully, what is happening. Look, this is the farm, okay, farms who are producing, and this is the household, okay, fine. So farm is producing what? The picture is a bit hazy. The farm is producing the commodity, okay. So he is producing the commodity, and through the market he is selling the product. Hmm. So the goods and services, these are coming from the farm through the market to the household. And household is doing what? Household is buying those goods and commodities, goods and services, sorry, goods and services. In short, this is called the commodity. Okay. So the commodity is produced by the farm and is consumed by the household, and this exchange is done in the market first. And in exchange of that, what the household is giving? The household is giving money. Definitely, when you are going to purchase any commodity, you have to pay the money. So you are giving money, and that money is also going to the farm through the market. Okay. So that spending, that this is the spending for the household, and this is the revenue for the farm. And it is done also in the market. That exchange is done in the market. This is one side. Now, what is the other side? To produce the commodity, the farms need raw material. Raw material means they need capital, they need labor, they need, what can I say, land and all this. So these are coming from the household. Household is the owner of those. Okay. So household is supplying labor, land, capital. Now through the input market, through the raw material market, these are going to the farm. Okay. So these are the input for the farm. Now when farm is getting all those inputs, farm is paying for that. Okay. So this is what? This is called the revenue. Sorry, this is the wage for the labor. This is the for the uh, rent for the capital. Okay. No, the rent for the land, and interest for the capital. These are coming from the farm. Okay. So the name of those expenditure is wage for the labor, rent for the land, and interest for the capital. Okay. So these are coming from the farm, and again it is coming in this factor market, and it is going to the household who is supplying those labor, capital, and land. Okay. So this is coming to the household in the name of income. So it's a circular flow. Farm is giving in commodities. In exchange of that, farm is earning the revenue. Household is giving the raw material. In exchange of that, farm is paying wage, rent, profit, etc. And this is coming to the household as an income. It's a circular flow diagram. Here look, there are only two components. The first one is farm and the second one is household. They are exchanging their commodities, right? Through the market. The market may be the commodity market, the market may be the input market or factor market. Okay. Now, and there is no government as such. Now here you can also incorporate the government. If there is a government, then how government is intervening? Government is imposing tax. Okay. So this is how government can take the revenue from the farm as the household through tax. And after getting the tax, this is the revenue of the government. Government is doing what with that tax? Government is giving some welfare program. Okay, government is implementing some welfare program to the society, and government is also providing some subsidy. Right? Subsidy means, you know what is subsidy? Janu, what is subsidy?
Yes, ma'am. The
Ma'am,
government gives some over like we get subsidies over gases, cylinders. That's
Okay.
ma'am, it is the of uh,
And the government pays a
tax.
part of the product which we are buying.
The relief given by the government.
Okay. Subsidy means it is a part of the price which is given by the government. Say in the market, the price of your commodity is 20 rupees. In addition to that, government is giving 5 rupees. Okay. So when you are when you are selling your commodity, the buyers are paying 20 rupees and government is paying 5 rupees. So what you are getting? 25 rupees, right? So price for your commodity to you is 25, but actually it is 20. So that additional 5 rupees is given by the government. So this is called the subsidy to the producer. The same thing can happen with the consumer. The same thing can happen with the exporter, importer. Okay. So somehow government is helping them by changing the price. If you are a seller in any sort of seller, then government is paying you the money. And if you are a consumer, then government is paying on behalf of you. So this is how government is helping you. Why? Because government is trying to protect you. If the objective of the government policy is to protect that sector, then government is giving this type of subsidy. Sometimes the subsidized raw materials are given. For example, the farmers are getting subsidized fertilizer. They are getting subsidized seeds, subsidized electricity. Okay, so these things are there. If a poor section of our economy, they are getting subsidized domestic electricity as well. Okay, that BPL connection is something different. The price of the BPL electricity is something different from those rest of the people. So this is how government is providing subsidy. If you can purchase the commodities from the ration shop, there is a section of the people who are purchasing rice, sugar, wheat from the ration shop, showing their BPL card, the kerosene through the BPL card. The price of them is very poor, 2 kg, 2 rupees per kg is like that. Okay, but in market it may be the 40 rupees. So this is how government is providing subsidy. There are so many avenues to provide the subsidy by the government, but anyhow government is providing this type of subsidy to protect that particular sector. And how government is getting the money so that he can give the subsidy? The major income source is the tax revenue. It may be the sales tax. For example, now we are facing that GST. GST is there, sales tax is there, excise tax is there. Okay, so these things are there through which government is earning, and obviously government has some other revenues to earn, as different public sectors are there who are profit making. So from there government is earning a lot. So anyhow, this is the income of the government and expenditure of the government either to the household or to the farm. Okay, anyhow, this is the closed economy. Now you can make this circular flow for a open economy. Now, if you are opening your economy, that means you are allowing export and import. Okay, and if there is an export, then farm is selling that commodity to the rest of the world. In exchange of that, farm is earning the foreign currency. It may be dollar, it may be pound, it may be euro, it may be anything. Okay, so this is another revenue. And the economy is also importing. Generally, import is done by the household, but sometimes it is done by the farms as well. Okay, the raw materials are imported by the farm sometimes. So anyway, import is done by the farm and from the household. We are also purchasing a lot of things imported. Sometimes we don't know, even we don't know these are imported commodities. We are using perfumes. Okay, any high-end perfumes, these are imported. Computers, for example, we are using HP computers, Lenovo, these are all imported. Your mobile phone also imported. So we are using, as a household member, we are also using a lot of products which are actually imported. So when we are importing some commodity, so some commodities are coming from the rest of world to the household, similarly to the farm, and in exchange of that, we are paying for that. Okay? Generally, we are paying in rupees, but that farm is getting that money in terms of their own currency, the foreign exchange. So this is how you can increase or you can enlarge this circular flow diagram. You can incorporate government, you can incorporate that free trade option. So this is how this is called a circular flow diagram. This is how you can enrich your circular flow diagram. Is that diagram clear to you? This is the simplest one. Is it clear, this diagram? Do you have any problem with this chart? This is in your ManQ.
Ma'am, what is the uh, chapter name in which
Oh, this is Unit 2. Can you remember Unit 2? Some of you have asked me that whether we will study Unit 2 or not. At that time, I said the PPF is okay, but this is before PPF.
And the chapter name is
Okay, ma'am.
Thinking Like an Economist.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't have the book right now, but it is chapter 2. It's I think it's the chapter before the principles of economics, the 10 principles.
No, ma'am, it is
Okay, ma'am.
after the 10 principle.
Okay, 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 okay.
Chapter 2
Just
and the
after.
diagram is in figure 1.
Yes, it is very much there because I have taken a photo from that book.
Ma'am, the diagram is in page 23.
Okay, look, everything is informed.
Ma'am,
Yes,
do the household also provides entrepreneurship?
yes, why not?
So, ma'am, here it is only written land, labor, and capital. So, if it provides entrepreneurship, there will also a part in the factors of production as profit. Oh, yeah, there is
Yeah,
profit.
the profit is written here. Look,
Yeah.
all
Okay.
the raw materials are coming from the household. Who is giving
Yes,
house other than household?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other
Yes.
question? I think no. This is a very simple. This is a very simple one. Again, this is just to clear your understanding, not for the question answer part. This is just to clear your doubt that how the sectors are interacting with each other. Okay, individual market. What is individual market? Individual market means say the market for shoe, the market for socks, the market for books. These are called the individual market. Okay, the market for a particular product. And within the book also you can distinguish the book, what can I say? Storybook. This is a section. Textbook. This is another section. Okay. Art books. That means the drawing and painting books. This is another section. This is how you can again distinguish and differentiate that market. That disaggregate the market and you are going to very specific purpose. And after that, you can, okay, for the textbook, you can go for, okay, this is a book by Oxford publication. So this is a particular market. The book published by Cambridge, this is another market. So again, you can disaggregate and go into more specific market. You are focusing on more and more specific market. Okay, so this is called individual market. Individual market means a market for a particular product. The market by a particular seller is like that. Okay. Now separation of individual market. Again, this is very similar. This part you can study from Lipsey and Crystal. Unfortunately, I don't have this book right now. Tomorrow I am going to the college, as you know. So there I am trying to find out a book from Lipsey Crystal, and I will take if possible, I will take some snapshot. Snapshot is not allowed actually in the college library, but if possible, I will take a photocopy of that. Then I can share it with you. A very 2 or 3 pages from Lipsey and Crystal. So separation of individual market. How can you separate the individual market? First of all, through their type of product. Shoes market is quite different from the food market. Okay, so through the type of products which they are selling, you can differentiate them. The second, by the geographical location. Okay, the Dubai Shopping Festival is in Dubai, and what can I say, that handicraft fair in Rajarhat is in Rajarhat. So this is how you can differentiate the market. Okay, so through the geographical location you can differentiate it easily. Sometimes government is imposing some control through which you can also differentiate. The controlled market, for example, in India, there are some spaces called the SEZ. Do you know the full name of SEZ?
Special economic
SEZ.
zones.
Yes, yes, special economic zone. So what is the speciality of that? What is the feature of that zone?
Ma'am, the government sets up special types of means factories, industries. I can give an example. That is Noida, I guess, is a SEZ.
Yes. SEZ means there actually government is allowing some MNCs to come there and make some not the infrastructure, make their own commercial space there. They can use that space to produce something. They can use that space to um, for the office purpose and all this, so that that area is tax free. Okay, that is a special economic zone. Whatever you are doing there, you are not bound to pay tax for it. That doesn't mean you can do anything. You can make gun, you can make um, bomb and all this. No, this is not allowed. You have to do something proper. But for that, and that should be notified by to the government. That should be informed to the government. That should be allowed by the domestic government. Everything is there. All those red tabs are there. But what is the thing? No tax is there. So this is how government has specified one area where you can come and make your program, you can come and produce your product, but government is giving you some advantage, is giving you some facility rather. Okay, government is giving you some facility which you can use it. So this is how government is differentiating this area from the rest of the economy. Government is encouraging those producers to come and produce their ideas or products or whatever. I think in our Rajarhat also we have one SEZ where IBM is there, Infosys is there. So this is actually the SEZ zone. So anyway, so this is how through government policy you can Falta, very old in West Bengal is Falta, FALTA, Falta. There are so many industries are there, and this is the SEZ area. So government, through government policy, you are differentiating this market from the rest of the markets. Okay, so this is how you can differentiate individual markets. Now, interlinking of the individual market, again, once you can separate, you can integrate as well. If it is geographically different, then through the trade policy, or through export and import, through transport, you can link those markets, right? If there is any possibility to link the shoes market with the food market, you can do it. If there is a disaggregation between the markets by the government policy, then once the government is relaxing its restrictions, then it will be interlinked. So this is how you can interlink individual markets. Now different markets. I'm going through your syllabus. All the points are in your syllabus. I'm not leaving any point of your syllabus. So competitiveness. Through competitiveness, you can differentiate the markets. As you know, some of you know now, we have already discussed about the perfect competition. So what is the feature of the perfect competition? There are a large number of buyers and sellers. Everyone is fighting for the product. The consumers are fighting to get the product. The sellers are fighting among themselves to sell the product. So there is a competition actually. Fighting doesn't mean the fighting literally. Actually, this is a competition. So there is a competition among the sellers and buyers to have the control over the product. Okay, and this is why no one is interested to know who is entering and who is leaving. There is a lot of producers and lot of sellers. So if you want, you can enter. If you want, you can leave. No one is interested about your movement. This is the first feature. The second feature is that as I have already told you, that as you are very insignificant in that sense, you are a single individual, either as a buyer or as a seller, so you cannot influence the market. So the price is given to you. Once you are entering in the market, you have to accept the price prevailing in the market. You cannot change it. So this is the thing. So through the competitiveness, this is one extreme. Another extreme is what? Where there is a single seller. So first one, the perfect competition where there is a lot of sellers so that you cannot count the number of sellers. And the another extreme is there is a single seller. The single seller is selling for the entire market. So he can do anything, not anything. When we will discuss, you can understand you cannot do anything, but you have a control over your product. You have a control over the market. You can charge the price according to your market structure. So you can determine the price. Okay, so this is how you can control the price. This is called a monopoly. And the opposite side of the monopoly is monopsony, where you have a single buyer. Okay, monopoly means it's a single seller, and monopsony in monopsony. Okay, monopsony. Monopsony means a single buyer. So buyer is the single one. So what they want, what that person wants, what the person is asking, everyone is bound to do that. So he has a supreme power over the market if you have a monopsony. And in case of monopoly, seller has the supreme power over the market. There may be a mixture of these two extremes, that is the competition and monopoly. This is called oligopoly. This is called monopolistic competition. These are all in our syllabus. We will discuss it in details. In case of monopolistic competition, what happens? You have to compete in the product market, but over your own product, you have sole power. You can do anything with your product. Okay, you can do anything with your product, but when you are coming to sell your product in the market, there you have to face the competition. For example, consider the soap industry. In the soap industry, there are some sellers, for example, ITC, who is producing Devils, Lux, Pierce glycerin soap, Dove. Can you tell me any other name of the soap which we are using? I told about Devils, Lux, Pierce, and
Ma'am,
what
Life
else?
Boy.
Lifebuoy, and Dettol.
Wildstone.
Okay, Wildstone. Fine. So these are the five, say, okay? They are the major sellers. So what they are doing when they are coming to sell the product is what? Product is actually the soap, right? So when they are coming to sell the product, they have to face the competition. The Devils has to face the competition of the Lux. The Lux has to face the competition from the Wildstone. Okay, so these are there. But Lux can do anything with its product. He can change the shape of his product. He can change the smell of his product. He can change the advertisement strategy of his product. So he can do anything with his product. So there he has a monopoly. Okay. Over its own product, he has monopoly. He can do anything with his product. But when he's coming to sell it in the market, he has to face the competition. He cannot charge 1,000 rupees per unit of Lux, because other companies are there who are selling the same amount of soap. So the price is around 50 rupees. So you cannot charge 1,000 rupees. You have to compete. So you have to charge the price around that 50 rupees. So this is called the monopolistic competition. Again, wait, we will discuss it when time comes. And here is oligopoly. Oligopoly is another structure where there is a few number of firms and there is an entry barrier. Okay, you cannot enter. All the existing firms are creating the barrier. They are not very happy when the new firms are entering. They are trying all sort to control that entry, to stop that entry. and there is interdependency in case of oligopoly. What I am doing, my competitors are watching that and they are also doing accordingly. Hmm. So this is how the oligopoly market structure is working. So depending on the different type of competitiveness, you can differentiate the market. Now again, the factor market means the market where the inputs are sold. For example, the labor market, um, capital market, land market. So these are the market where the inputs are sold. Huh? So this is not the final product market, right? So this is something different. This market is something different. And the demand, just for continuity, I'm just telling you that demand in the factor market is called the derived demand. The demand of the factor is derived from the demand of the final product. If there is no demand of the final product, there will be no demand for the factor as well. So that is why the demand for the factor is called the derived demand. Hmm. So anyway, factor market is a type of market. Free market means what? Whatever we have discussed before this slide is the free market. There was no government. Okay, as if there is no government in our life. It's like that. There is a demand curve, there is a supply curve. If there is a surplus, price mechanism is working. Deficit, then price mechanism is working, as is always trying to create the equilibrium, always trying to clear the markets. So this is called the free market, where there is no intervention, not only from the government, from anyone, there will be no intervention. This is called the free market. Okay. Controlled market, you can understand just opposite. Government is intervening in some respect. It may control the price, it may control the entry, exit, the decision, quality. So these are there. So this is called the controlled market. Okay. The market and non-market. Market means, the market means where the commodities are exchanged, and non-market means where the exchange is done, but it is not, I am giving you something, so you have to give me something. It may be money, it may be commodity. It may be not, it may not be like this. For example, any type of grant on that. So here I am giving some money to someone with expectation that he will not give me anything. So this is called the non-market sector. Okay. So these are the different type of market. Any question from this slide?
So can you please repeat about the factor market?
Yes, factor market means the market where the factors are exchanged. Factors of productions are exchanged. Now, what are the factors of production? It may be the land, it may be the labor, it may be the capital, right? So these are the factors. So the market where these things are exchanged is called the factor market. Now, what I said, in the factor market, again, just like the commodity market, there should be a demand curve and there will be a supply curve. Okay. Now, the demand of the factor is called the derived demand. Why? Because the demand of the factor is coming because there is a demand of the final product, right? If there is no demand of the final product, the finished product, then there will be no demand for the factors. If there is no demand for the soap, then there is no demand for the soap makers, right? The labor for the soap industry, they don't, these laborers are of no need, no use. So this is how the demand for factors is called the derived demand. আর তো কিছু বলিনি, clear এটুকুনি?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Any other question?
Ma'am, please repeat the non-market sector.
Non-market means where you are not getting any market as such. That means no exchange is done in that way. For example, if you are giving some grant, if you are giving some donation like this, you are giving something. But in exchange of that, you are not expecting that the other side will give you something other than blessings, right? So this is how, but the one side giving is there, no? So that is why this is called a non-market. Okay, all the grants, aids, these are under this category.
Okay, ma'am. So some kind of charity.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, ma'am.
No other question? Now look, public good. Public good means what? The goods which are provided by the government, we can say. Okay. The goods, actually public good is something different. We will explain it. But for the time being, generally we are thinking public good means the good which is provided by the public authority. That means the government. Just a minute. So public good means it is provided by the public authority. For example, the road, the national highways. These are the public good. National highways, street light, our local common park, uh, the water body. If you have any water body in your locality, this is the public good. Okay. Now, what is the feature of the public good? You don't need to care about it, no? We are not interested to take care of those public good. Are you interested to take care of your street light? Are you interested to take care of your water body in your area? No. This is taken care by your local councillor or commissioner. Okay. So this is the feature of the public good. Now, what is a private good? Private good means my own house. Private good means my own textbook. Private good means my own clothings. So these are the private good. It's owned by someone. Okay, it is owned by someone. So this is the private good. And once you are going to get it, you have to pay for it. Right? But generally in case of NH, the national highway, we are not paying for it in that sense. Actually, we are paying in terms of tax. But generally, we are not paying to use that NH. Right? Now, free market, we have already discussed about the free market here, no? That free market is here already, free market. So again, it is written here. Now, as I said, free market means there is no control. Price mechanism, market mechanism is doing everything for the market. Controlled market is just opposite. Controlled market means government intervention is there. Strong government intervention is there. Government is controlling the price. Government is controlling the supply and demand of the commodities. Everything is controlled by the government. So this is called the controlled market. And mixed market, you can understand it's a mixture of the free and the controlled market. So actually what happened in case of the mixed market, in case of mixed market, range is fixed. So within that limit, you can do anything. So within that boundary, you are free, but you cannot go beyond that boundary. So there comes the control. If price is fluctuating from say 10 to 100 rupees, it is allowed. But if price is going to increase above 100 rupees, it is controlled. Then the government is coming and saying, no, you cannot charge price more than 100. So here comes the control. But if you are charging 99 rupees, it's okay. So there is no control. So this is called the mixed market. Actually, in the economy, you may have this type of mixed market in India also. Or not only that, in India, actually what happened, there are some sectors which are free and there are some sectors which are controlled. For example, arms and amenities. So this is a sector where strong control is there. Okay, the crude oil, strong control is there. But in case of the normal consumer commodities, no control as such. Okay, no control as such. Everyone can ask any money. For example, if you are going to purchase, what can I say? A salwar suit, for example. If you are going to purchase a salwar suit from your local shop, then the price is, say, around 1,000. Say, okay, I'm just assuming. Say the price is 1,000. Now, when you are going to purchase that the salwar suit, obviously, the salwar suit, I should not say same, but the salwar suit from say Anamika Khanna or like that, the price is around 50,000. Okay, so there is no control as such. They are giving some speciality, they are making it some unique, and they are influencing you, and so you are ready to pay that 50,000 for that Anamika Khanna. Okay, or so this is how there is no control. There is a free market for those sectors. But when you are going to purchase any arm, when you are going to purchase petrol, so there is a strong control. You cannot charge any price. Okay, so this type of mixed market you can find in India as well. India is an
Ma'am,
example. Yes,
ma'am, does the budget influence the price of the normal goods and somewhat control it?
definitely, definitely. Definitely, if the budget, for example, if you go through now you are in the economics field, then you should just go around the data. There is a data. mm, Just go to the data. Most of the data is nowadays free. Basically, the international data. If you go to the World Health Organization data, WTO, sorry, not the WTO, WHO data, WHO. So there are some data which is open actually. Just click it and you will get it. The data of government expenditure for health sector for different countries. You can find the expenditure of the percentage of GDP which is spent for the health sector in India is very low as compared to even the there are there are 50 yes, there are 54 countries in Africa. So Africa is a continent where there are 54 countries. So the small countries are there. Their the expenditure percentage of GDP for the health expenditure is quite high as compared to India. So what happened? They can give more money to their health worker. They can get sophisticated equipment for the health sector, which India cannot. Okay, and this is how the price of the health what can I say, healthcare is determined. In India, the healthcare price is very high, okay, because you have to give the money from your pocket. But for example, in Africa, it is not, because government is spending a lot for your healthcare. So your expenditure for healthcare is very low. So this is how budget is influencing the expenditure of the healthcare. For example, I'm just giving you one example. Okay.
So, ma'am, can we say that that it somewhat controls the price of the normal goods?
No, not in that sense. Not in that sense. This is an. I'm just telling you on overall. Obviously, Indian economy is a mixed sort of market. So here, control is everywhere, but not in that sense. It is not control. It is depending on the expenditure of the government, the view of the government, the importance of the government. Okay, how the government is giving importance on the health, how government is thinking education is important, how important education is for the government, how important health for the government. So this is how the thing is. But in the market everything is free. But definitely the medicine is controlled. The price of medicine is controlled. Specifically the life savings one. So this is controlled price.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Uh,
Ma'am,
yes.
ma'am, I have a doubt in non-market sector, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, what type of market is ma'am black market? Ma'am, is it non-market sector?
Black market. বলতে পারো।
Ma'am, as there is not normal activities in black market, so ma'am, can we
No,
say
no,
this?
why not? Why not? Why not? There is a normal activity in the black market. For example, I'm just giving you one example of the black market. Um, Kerosene. You know, kerosene. Sometimes the people need kerosene. So the price of, I don't know the exact price of kerosene in Russian shops. Say it is 40 rupees per liter in ration shop. Okay, it is subsidized. But if you, and the amount of kerosene which is given by the ration shop to per household is very poor. If the household is exclusively dependent on the kerosene, then the kerosene has to be purchased from the open market. Hmm. So that person is going to the open market and going to purchase it. What is the price of the kerosene? The same kerosene. Actually, the kerosene is coming from the ration shop. I'm not going to the details and how it is coming. But anyway, it is available in the open market. When you are going to purchase it from the open market, the price is 90 rupees. So this is the black market. This is the black market. It should not come in the open market. It should be sold by the ration shop. But that the person who is selling the kerosene is actually sitting in front of the ration shop in the evening. So you can understand how they are getting that kerosene. So this is the black market. The buyer is there, seller is there, argument is also there, and price is determined by the black market. So there is a demand and supply in the black market as well. So it is not non-market in that sense. Non-market means where you are giving something, but you may not get something in exchange of that.
Then, ma'am, it is a market sector.
Yes, not black market is a market.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Now this is also taken from, just a minute, this is also taken from ManQ. This picture is taken from ManQ. This is the last part of unit 3. That's why I was very reluctant about unit 3, because it's a very short in that sense. Yes, I need to explain this section actually. This is a part, the reference is chapter 11 of my book, ManQ. Okay, the ManQ chapter 11, according to my edition, it's chapter 11. You have to search different types of goods. Okay, this is the name of the chapter. You can find this table there. Wherever you will find this table, you have to read that chapter. In my book, it's chapter 11. Okay, different types of goods. Look, there are actually what happened there. This part you have to understand. Before these slides, all things are a sort of story, right? But here you have to understand something. Depending on the nature, you may have two different type of nature for any of the commodity consumption. For any of the consumption, you may have two features. So what are those features? The first feature is the rivalry, and the second feature is the excludable. So whether the commodity is excludable or not, whether the consumption is rival or not. Okay, let me explain one by one. Rival means, say, I am sitting on a table. I am sitting on a chair. Okay, I am sitting on a chair. That means at that time, you cannot sit on that chair. Do you agree with me? I am sitting on a chair. So now you cannot sit on this particular chair.
Yes, ma'am.
You can sit some other chair, but you cannot sit in this chair because I am sitting here. Right? You agree with me or not? Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is called rival consumption. As I am consuming the service of this chair, you cannot consume the service of this particular chair right now. You can use that chair when I will leave, but right now you cannot. So consumption of service of this chair is rival in nature. I am using, so you cannot. You are using, so I cannot. So this is rival in nature. Is it clear to you? Don't look at this table. I will explain the table when time comes. Just Make yourself clear about the rivalry.
Ma'am, could you please repeat?
Yes. But I'm saying that, say I'm sitting on a chair now. So that means I'm using the service of this chair. And as I'm sitting on this chair, you cannot sit on this chair right now. You can sit on this chair after 1 hour. But not now, it is not possible for you to sit on that chair. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You are using a pen. Say, you are using a pen. I'm very much interested to write with this pen. But now it is not possible for me to write with this pen, with that particular pen, because you are writing with this pen. So the pen is rival in consumption. That
Yes, ma'am.
consumption has the rivalry in nature. I may use the same type of pen, but I cannot use your pen right now because you are using it. Okay. So this consumption is rival in nature. There are some commodities who has this rivalry. There are some commodities who doesn't have this rivalry. So now this is what example I am giving you is a rival in nature. Now consider another example. Um, Consider the example of cable TV. All of you have cable TV connection, na? Just a minute. Someone is doing something here. Anything? No. Okay. All of you have a cable connection there, right? In your home, you have cable connection, yes or no? Tell me. Most of you have.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I know 100% answer will be yes. So in that case, say in the evening, you are watching anything, say ZTV. Okay. You are watching ZTV. I can also watch ZTV at the same time. You are watching a particular serial. I can also watch the same serial at the same time. Can I? বুঝতে পারছো না?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the problem? You are watching ABP Anand. I don't know whether you are watching that or not. Okay, you are watching NDTV. I can also watch NDTV at the same time when you are watching. So there is no problem of watching the NDTV at the same time. So consumption of the NDTV service is non-rival in nature. I am watching doesn't mean you cannot watch. I am watching, you can also watch. The same thing. So this is non-rival in nature. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
There are some commodities who have rivalry property. There are some other commodities who don't have the rivalry property. Is it okay? This is the rivalry. Right? If it is okay, then I am going to the second property. Is it okay to you? If
Yes,
you have
ma'am. It is
any
okay.
problem,
Yes,
if you have any problem, just stop me and ask. For example, okay, I'm giving you another example. Now, you are a student of Scottish Church College Economics Department. In Economics Department, there are 60 seats in total, okay? So, you occupied one. So, another student cannot enter in Scottish Church College because you entered in that department. He or she could not take admission in economics department as you have entered in this department. So your presence in economics department is rival in nature. No? Yes, ma'am. You are getting the service. You are getting the service of economics department. That is why some others they cannot take the service of the department. So consumption of your consumption is rival in nature. Okay, so this is how you can find out so many examples from your real life, and you just check whether your consumption is rival or not. Okay, I'm going to another property, that is the excludable property. Hmm. Again, I'm coming to that college example. You are entering in the college, so obviously you have that marks. Okay, you have that marks in your hand, you have that marks in your +2 level. That is why you could enter in this. Hmm. So there is a cut-off marks in economics department. Once you have it, you can enter. If you don't have these marks, whatever one you, that may be your dream college, you are thinking from your child life that okay, I should go to the Scottish Church College, I will sit in the economics department, whatever you thought, you cannot enter in the college once you don't have that score, right? So that score is excluding the people not to enter in the department. ঠিক বললাম?
Yes, ma'am.
Acha, I'm giving you another example. You want to see, you want to watch a movie. Now now all the INOX and everything, these are multiplexes, these are open, na? So you are trying to watch a movie. I don't know the recent movie name, anything, ABCD, whatever. So you just want to watch a movie after this pandemic situation. So what is the price of the ticket? Around 300. Once you have 300, you can enter and watch. Okay? If you don't have the money, you cannot enter in the multiplex to watch the movie. Whatever eagerness you have, no one cares. You have to pay that 300 rupees at least. So, watching the movie is excludable in nature. Watching the movie in multiplex. Watching a movie in multiplex is excludable in nature. বাবা এই বোধহয় ঘুমিয়ে পড়েছিল অন্বেষা, what happened with you? So what I'm telling you, that watching a movie in multiplex is excludable in nature. Do you agree with me or not? If you don't agree, no issue, just tell me, I will explain.
Ma'am, I can't understand that portion.
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Yes. You want to watch a movie in multiplex, right? So what you need? You have to purchase a ticket. The average price of the ticket is around 300. So you have to pay 300. Once you are paying 300, you can enter in the multiplex and watch the movie. Okay? If you don't have that money, you cannot enter. If you don't have the money, you cannot enter. So here money matters. So watching a movie in this multiplex is excludable in nature. If you don't have the money, you are not allowed to enter. So I am excluding you. I am excluding you. Why? Because you don't have the money. Okay. So watching the movie in the multiplex is excludable in nature. I can exclude you. I can exclude anyone if they don't have money.
Yes, ma'am. Understand.
Any other question from anyone else? No. Okay, I'm giving you another example. Once you are trying to enter in the economics department, Scottish Church College, you have to pay a fees. It may be a bit rude, but let it be. you have to pay the fees na, within a certain time. If you cannot pay the fees, the college is not allowing you to enter and sit in the department. You may be very scholar, you may have a very good score, but if the person doesn't have money to pay the fees in the right time, then he is not allowed to enter and have a study, right? So this is how the study in a particular department in a college is also excludable in nature. Then,
Yes, ma'am.
here again the excludability is coming because of the fees. That fees here is the instrument. Now think you are not, I'm just going to give you non-excludable nature. You are going for fishing in an ocean. Okay, you are going for a fishing in an ocean. You can fish, you can make that fishing. I can also. It depends on my habit. It depends on my hobby. So if my hobby is fishing, then I'm going there and making that fishing. You can also do. Your friend can do. Your relatives can do. Everyone can do. No one is bothered about that. So this is non-excludable in that sense. Once you have that, what can I say, that fishing rope, you can go and just make that fishing. Okay, so this is non-excludable in nature. There is no one to say you that don't do that. There is no one to say you that don't do that, don't enter, don't, you are not allowed to do that. So this is non-excludable in that sense. Okay. I am giving you one example. So I have given you 4 or 5 or 6 examples regarding the rivalry and excludable. So what I said, that commodity may be rival in nature, commodity may not be rival in nature. Commodity may be excludable, commodity may not be excludable. Now I am giving you an example. Just tell me which property it has. Let me think. Okay, you are coming in college through a public bus. Okay, you are coming in college through a public bus. Tell me whether this thing, that sentence that has a excludable property, rivalry property, what? One by one. Just try.
Both.
Okay, why both?
Ma'am, because if I don't have the money, I will be excluded from boarding the bus. And if somebody is already sitting on a seat, then I would not be able to sit on that.
Very good. Very good. So this is actually rival in nature and excludable in nature as well. Okay, very good. And okay, example of free school. You know free school, where you don't need to pay the money as a fees. So fee school, whether it is rival and excludable or what?
Non-excludable. Rival.
Rival. Why rival? Can rival can?
Only a certain
Number of
number of
seats.
students will be admitted.
Yes, the seat is
Not
limited.
everyone is.
And regarding excludability?
It's free, so not excludable.
Not excludable.
Yes, non-excludable but rival. As the seat is limited, it is rival. But as there is no fees, it is non-excludable. Anyone can apply. So it is non-excludable. Yes. So depending on, there is a combination. Rival, yes, you can. Now look at this table. Rival, yes. Excludable, yes. It is called the private good. Any commodity. Your pen, your pencil, your book, your shoes, whatever it is. This is the rival in nature and excludable also. Huh? You are using your shoes, so I cannot use it. You have paid for to get that shoes. Once you don't have the money, you cannot purchase your shoes. So that is why it is excludable as well. These are called the private good. Okay. So what is private good? Private good You know, when I said here, I said that I will discuss it in details. So here it is private good. So what is the feature of the private good? Private good has the rivalry and excludable property. Okay. Now there are some commodities who are non-rival but excludable. For example, cable TV. Non-rival, as I said, I am watching ZTV, you can also watch it. I am watching NDTV, you can also watch it. Okay. So this is non-rival but excludable because to have the cable connection, I have to pay the money regularly. No? Otherwise, I cannot get the access. So that is why there is excludable property. Fire protection. Fire protection. Say in the complex, you have the fire protection, right? You have to purchase it. So it is excludable in that sense. You have to pay for it. So it is excludable, but it is non-rival, right? If one is taking the advantage of this fire protection, his neighbors are also getting the benefit of it. So it is non-rival in nature. What happened? Why everyone is joining now? Oh, it is extended. That is why, na? I think so. They just left because they are thinking, why you are joining again? Hey, what happened? You were thinking that I just left the class. No, I said in my class that I will take double period on Thursday so that I will not take any class on Friday. So that is why I think that is the reason. Okay. So this is called the natural monopoly. Okay. The commodity who is non-rival but excludable is called the natural monopoly. So what is natural monopoly? Natural monopoly means the commodity who has the property of non-rivalry and excludability. Okay. And then example is cable TV, fire protection and all this. Now just opposite. Rivalry is yes, but excludable is no. For example, fishing. For example, congested road. Okay, congested road. I am using it. As it is congested, you cannot enter with your car. You cannot enter in this road with your bike because I am on the road. It is congested, so it's rival. But everyone is allowed to enter. Everyone is allowed to use that road. It's congested, okay, fine, but no one is restricting you not to allow. So that is why it is non-excludable. This is called common resource. Okay, this type of commodity is called the common resource. The local park, street light. These are the example of the common resource. And the last one is non-rival, non-excludable. Is called a public good. It is free and no one is restricted. Okay, it is not said to anyone that don't use it. If it is there, you can use it. Okay, and it is free of cost in that sense. So that is, it is called a non-rival and non-excludable. The name is public good. Okay, for example, national defense. Once there is defense, it is for everyone. Whether you are paying the tax or not, it is for everyone of the nation. And it is non-rival as well. I am using the help of the national defense. There are soldiers who are fighting against the neighbor countries in Ladakh, in Arunachal Pradesh, in Rajasthan and all this. So that is why we are safe in our home. So I am getting the benefit of their war and you are also getting the benefit of their struggle. Okay, so it is non-rival in nature. Now tell me, so there are 4 types of commodity. Yeah, private good, natural monopoly, common resource and public good. Now ask me your question.
Ma'am, how is the environment rival in nature?
Environment. We're asking about environment.
Yes, ma'am, it's under common resources.
Yes. Rival in nature means I am just look, okay, maybe very vague, but just let me give you an example. I am consuming oxygen from the environment. I am consuming oxygen from the environment every time. And that that particular oxygen you are not getting because I am consuming it, I am breathing it. So this is how rivalry is there. But no one is asking you to stop your breathing. So this is non-excludable. But that particular year which I am consuming, you cannot consume at that time.
Ma'am, you said street lights come under common resources. Are they
No, no, no.
removed?
Street light, no. Street light is a public good actually. Street light is a public good.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
And look, it is uncongested toll roads. Huh? In case of natural monopoly, it is uncongested toll roads. Non-rival because everyone is allowed. But as it is toll road, so it is excludable. If you have to pay, for example, all of you know, na, in the Kona Expressway, you have to pay the toll. Then only you are allowed to be on the road. So toll means you have to pay, so it is excludable. But as it is very open, uncongested, so non-rivalry is there. But if it is congested, there comes the rivalry. But free, okay, fine. If it is a free congested road, so excludability, no excludability is there. But rivalry is there.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, how can congested toll roads can be a private good?
Congested toll roads. Okay. Congested means I am using it, so you cannot use right now. So it is rival. Fine. And it is tolled. That means you have to pay money for it. You have to pay money to use it. So it is excludable as well. If you cannot pay the money, you cannot use it. So it is excludable and rival.
Ma'am, then the normal national highways that have toll, are they private?
National highway, if it is congested, then it is becoming private. The tolled national highways, if there is a toll and it is a congested one, then it is private. If there is a toll and it is uncongested, that national highway is becoming natural monopoly.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you please explain again that under private goods, why the clothing and other things are excludable?
Ice cream.
Ice cream, yes, ma'am.
Because you have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. There is a price of your clothing. There is a price for ice cream. If you cannot pay, you are not allowed to consume it. So it is excludable.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Anything else?
Ma'am, can you repeat the chapter name again from the book?
Oh, okay. Just a minute. Let me come with my book.
Okay, ma'am.
So all of you know it is declared that you have to go through this online process till your NSEM exam. Yesterday it is declared by the government, state government. So you have to follow the same thing till March. Yes, it's chapter 11. Just a minute. Chapter 11, the name of the chapter is Public Good and Common Resources. Okay. The name of the chapter is
Yes,
Public
ma'am.
Good and Common Resource. In my book, that means in my edition, it is chapter 11.
Yes, ma'am. It is also chapter 11 in my edition.
Public good and common resource. This table is very much there. And so many examples are also there I will discuss about the free rider problem and the common resource problem, everything in the next class. Tragedy of commons. These things are there. I will discuss it in the next class. But for today, just tell me whether everything is clear for you or not.
Ma'am, and the types of market, which chapter was it, like free market? The one we were
As
talking
I
about,
said, no,
monopolistic.
as I said, first of all, for different type of market, this is there. Okay, in each and every book, you can find different types of market in terms of competitiveness and all this. Here also in ManQ also you will get it. Just a minute. It is starting from the chapter 14, competitive market. Then chapter 15 is monopoly and all this. But how you can differentiate the market, how you can interlink the market, these things are there in Lipse and Crystal. And as I said the beginning of my class, I will go to my college tomorrow, and if possible I will take the photocopy of this part of the Lipse Crystal, and then I will share it in college LMS. Okay, if you have Lipse Crystal, then it's very good, find it, it is there. And if you don't have, don't worry, I will share in next week probably.
Okay.
Anything else you want to know? I need one more class where I will discuss the two things, actually two things left.